And everybody who's live, hope you guys can see me on my Monday live stream Q&A. On my Monday live stream Q&A. On my Monday live stream Q&A. On my Monday live stream on my. That's my favorite part, is when everything just goes into a crazy loop. Crazy loop. Crazy loop. There we go. All right, so for you guys on the One World, which Chris, I believe you're here. Check, check. I don't want to refresh or anything because I don't want to leave the video. Chris is here. And I'm going to keep playing that. And then I'm going to put this in and go, we are live. All right. Yay. So I'm going to move this stuff around and we're going to see. Can you hear us? That's a big question. Hey, Chris, type in you can hear me if you can hear me. Press play. See if you can hear me. I actually have this live streaming to Facebook, which should take us to YouTube, which will be nice. But on this class, let's bring it down here. Bloop. Real big. And up here. All right. So what we're going to be looking for, Chris, you're here. Okay, you can hear, but now you comment here though on this group. So you can comment here. And that will help us. We're going to live stream and pay attention to our live stream on YouTube, but we're going to refresh from time to time on our One World Martial Arts Academy group here, where you are, Chris. And so if you need to type in any questions or anything, here's where you do it. Comment right here, type these in. Like you said, it says Chris is here. I could hear but not comment. That's great. That's what we're looking for. It's people who join us here, and we should be able to see the posts pop up as we get going. We're working on several different ways here. We may be leaving YouTube and going into Zoom and embedding Zoom because it might work better. We're not sure yet, but it's all about comments and interactive working on our group and this circle group, we call it, Chris, where you're at watching us, the circle group. They're doing some work in the next month or two where we'll be able to live stream right from them. Okay. So if you're having trouble, there you go. Okay, that's a good question. If you're having trouble casting this video to your TV, Chris, it's because we actually had to embed YouTube. So if you go to the video and you're watching, you're going to wind up streaming YouTube to your TV. And theoretically, you could post on YouTube, but questions would get lost. So right now, we're working on the technology of streaming here on our Circle group. But Circle, I've talked to them, they said basically about their goal is about 6 weeks from now, so sometime in August, we'll be able to live stream directly here. You'll be able to put this just like you would on Facebook. You'd be able to put it on your TV. They're just not quite there yet, but they said, well, they said 8 weeks ago. They said 2 weeks ago, 8 weeks. So we're thinking sometime in August, but you can't hold me to it. But so right now, everything's being done on YouTube and to Facebook. Well, not Facebook anymore, but to the Circle group. Okay, so you could try to Chromecast your screen, and then theoretically you should be able to get bigger. But I think if you click larger, it will. If you try to make it real big, I think it'll take you to YouTube, which means you won't be able to type in your what am I trying to say? Type in your questions. Yeah, I believe that large full screen is not available unless you go to YouTube right now. But this is what we're going to do with this video today. We're going to stream to you. Let me try this one more time. We're going to stream to YouTube. And we're going to embed our YouTube on our Circle group. And today I'm also embedding this YouTube on Facebook one last time, but on the main page of Facebook, not our training group, because we're shutting the training group down on Facebook to go to here to Circle. So you can watch it full stream on YouTube, but questions will be hard for us to answer because we are watching the One World Martial Arts Academy Circle group for questions today to see how it works. So thank you for that, Chris. You've already helped us learn how this works. It's going to be a little struggle until we can go live streaming to this group like we used to do at Facebook. But that option doesn't exist yet here. They're building it right now. We're one of the early adopters of this group. It's still technically in beta, and they're letting us use it. So I'm very happy to be on it. But yeah, so it might be a struggle. Cy Miles and I will watch for our little bell to pop up to say that somebody's quoted on it, and we'll do that. But I want to get started. Okay, I'm gonna take that off. Here we go. Cy Miles, come out here. All right. While we're doing that, I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. So we are little adjustment here. Our flags are there and all that fun stuff. Okay. All right. Feet together, arms out. Tisha. Belly. Okay. So I want to start class today with something that's really special. This makes me feel really good. I want to read this to you guys. And this is how we're starting our video here. I got this email today, just really about an hour ago. And it's from one of our online students. And it's long, so I'm going to do just a little bit out of it. But I want to read this. So when we first spoke, I was unable to straighten my arm above my head, much less hold it for any amount of time. I was able to lift 5 pounds. I was also unable to turn my torso to the left. I saw a physical therapist the other day for the first time in months since COVID. I can now not only hold my hand over my head, I can also hold it there for 1 minute. I have a 10-pound grip, and best of all, I can turn left. It may sound silly to some, but those little things are absolutely huge, and I wanted to thank everyone involved in making these classes possible. I have a better result exercising with karate than I have in the last 1.5 years in physical therapy, and that is why this program is amazing, and that is why I do it. So to the student who sent that, I edited it. I didn't read everything you wrote, but thank you very much. Those notes mean the world to me. So please, anyone with any feedback of any sort, send it to me. Know that your notes get to me personally, and I read them, and they're fantastic. And thank you so much for that. That is why we did this. Anyone can teach martial arts online. Some of it will be horrible, some of it will be good, some of it will be great. But what we aim to do is teach a martial arts program that is accessible to everyone and is great. And so that's a mighty tall order. But When I get emails like that, I think maybe we're doing something right, you know? So it makes me feel really, really good to hear that. And now let me just turn it back around on you for the student who sent me that. That result is on you because you did the work. So congratulations and keep up the great work. All right, now some of the notes we have today and questions we have are for yellow belt and higher. So what we wanted to do today is we wanted to go in and we wanted to work on the 9 count drills, but we want to focus on count 7, 8, and 9 of some of the core drills and 4 of the 5 core drills. And then some of the other drills as well, because as you guys see in the program, if you're a seated practitioner, there are substitutions. So we want to work with the substitutions as well today. And so we're going to go over counts 7, 8, and 9. Techniques 7, 8, and 9 of our stance drill, our stepping drill, our blocking drill, our punching drill, our open hand drill, our hammer fist drill, and if we have time, our elbow drill. That's 7 drills, right? We're going to try to hit all 7 drills today if we have time. Just doing 7, 8, and 9. And so it's going to be an overview teaching. Okay, we're going to jump right into it, and this is an overview teaching. We're not gonna get real deep into it, but we're also not gonna just gloss over it like practice. We're gonna hit some high points here. So I see a question. Let me check here real quick before we go on. And okay, great. That's great, Chris. Chris is saying that he's streaming it on YouTube TV, but he's got his computer up so he can write comments down here. So that's one thing. For those of you that heard me mumbling and talking to Chris as we got started, if there's anybody else watching right now, this group is still in beta, and we were lucky enough to be allowed to join it early. And in the next month or two, we're going to have the option and opportunity to live stream our classes. That's a thing they're adding. So right now we have to embed a YouTube video, but in less than 2 months, hopefully, their goal is mid-August. We'll be able to live stream like you would do in Facebook and stuff, and you'll be able to put us up on the TV and quote and talk and everything else. It'd be great. So we're working on that. All right, so let's jump into it, okay? Let's begin. Simon Miles, I'm going to pull the mats out because I want our clock here. All right? I want our clock out here. People who might be wanting to follow along. I know it's hard to see the clock, but I want to hear it's part of our group. Here, let me move it over a tiny bit more. There we go. All right. So let's go to stances first. Okay, the first part we want to work on is the stances 7, 8, 9 are cross stances. And the primary notes I want you guys to get for your cross stances are this. Everybody get to a ready position, please. Standing at the center of your clock or your star. Okay? And now when we go to the right for the stances, where we're working on the proper technical positioning of our body, I want you just to turn your right foot out and then step across with a big high knee lift onto your white tape. Now, the things I want you to focus on are dropping your weight, bending your knees, getting your feet fairly far apart, okay? His feet are not next to each other. They're pretty far apart, and the foot that stepped, he turned his toes towards the camera, so the instep of the foot turns out. Okay, 2. I'll show you what I mean again on this side. He's going to turn his left foot out. He's going to step across with a high knee. The right foot steps out, and the toes are pointing forward. He turned his instep out, and he stepped as deep as he could, and then he lets go come back. That's okay. 2, come back. Good. And then what he can do by stepping wide and turning the toe up this way, he can actually lock his thighs and knees in together and still be in a wide stance. The common mistakes are turn your foot out or step a little bit. Simon, go ahead. Get you ready. And then tiny step like that. He didn't lift his knees, and his feet are next to each other. So his feet are literally together. If I were to push Simon Miles right now, he would just go over. So that's a good indicator the stance is wrong. If you're just going to topple over with the lightest touch, we got to do something about that. But if he drops into a deeper stance and he steps out, steps wide, and he can lock his legs and thighs together, he's got a bit more balance, okay, which is good. 2. So the cross stances need to be wide, your knees need to be bent, And you want to be able to step with that foot turned out, instep out, so that you can lock your thighs and knees in and drop in, and that helps give you your balance and your weight. Notice he also keeps his back straight. Now here's the good news. If you can do it to the side, you know 7, 8, and 9. They're the same stances at your angles. So side to side is straight out, and then back is back down the orange tape, and 2, and then back down the green tape, and 2. Now coming forward is the easiest of all. Turn your foot to point out the tape and step. Boop. Pretty easy. 2, and boop. Good. And 2. Now that brings me back to the last thing I want to talk about with the stances here, and that is the elbow cover and the protective hand underneath. Okay? Simons, will you do the forward stance? Either one, right or left. I don't care. Okay? So when he steps forward, the foot that steps is also the elbow that comes up. And so he's covering elbow, locked in on his shoulder, protecting his face, neck, jaw. Okay? But this hand, the off hand, tucks up under his armpit. Okay? 2. And the reason he's going under his armpit is because when you cover like this, while you're doing all this wonderful protection around your life support, you're actually opening up a vulnerable area. Under your arm is a vulnerable area, especially with weapons. That's a great big opening under there. This is the way the body was built. You don't have any ribs. You don't have any bones. You don't have any back cover. You don't have anything there once this comes up, except the great big opening in your rib cage that can go straight across your body. Okay? So that's a bad thing if somebody wants to poke something in there. So when you're covering up here, this hand coming in here helps protect the vulnerable spot for a stab, which is here. Okay? Or here. So the stepping foot is the covering elbow, and the off foot is an armpit. Okay? So when we step into that, we step and cover and cover. Okay? So that's the last note for that. It's the same stance, side, side, back, back, forward, forward. And it's every time it's the same. The stepping foot is the covering elbow. You turn your foot out so your instep is facing forward and your toes are pointing forwards. And you keep your feet as far apart as you can and drop your weight. Okay? Let's go through that again. Let's do 7, 8, and 9 cross stances on your own. Follow Simons, everybody. It's a cross stance right. And cross stance left. See the arm and the elbow. Then you're going to do it to the back. Back cross stance. Same thing. Stepping foot is raised elbow. Notice he keeps his eyes forward, though. The idea is we're not just doing the same stance. We're doing different stances based off the opponent's positioning and attack. Cross. Good. 2. And then the last one, everybody. And 2. Good. And 2. Now, that's your stance. Stepping, which comes next, 7, 8, and 9, are somewhat similar. And we're going to have to be very careful about 9. When we get to 9, I'll show you, because it takes a lot of space. We'll probably move back and come forward, but it can take up a lot of space in your room. So we usually get basically through 8, and then we're like, uh-oh, what are we going to do? We're all training in our living room. Well, we got to adjust a little bit, okay? So while it's really nice to have 500 square feet like of mat space like we do right here, if you don't, you can step out of your center to do your last 2 stances, and that's perfectly okay. It is not as pretty, but it's perfectly okay. So for stepping, we are going to cross over and turn, but you're going to see something. We are not stepping into our cross stances, which is a occasion for much debate sometimes, in especially students who know just enough to start talking back to their instructors. So here's the deal. The stances and the cross stances and the back cross stances and the forward cross stances are stances under fire. Okay? If you're in a cross stance, you're in the middle of combat. Okay? And that's one of the reasons that modern martial arts doesn't like it. We don't like stances in modern martial arts. A lot of modern forward-thinking, modernizing martial arts, they don't like stances. They say, I don't quite like this, right? So they don't like stances. Well, stances are very, very important, but they're not the same as stepping, okay? Stepping, mobility, and evasion, a very important part of our martial art, and we've always understood that there are times when you're going to need to drop into your stance, and there are times when you should be moving. And if you can be moving, you should be moving. So the stepping drill is not about stepping into a cross stance and spinning out of it, okay? The stepping drill crossovers and turns are when you're slightly disengaged still, or you're re-engaging, or you get crossed up, or life isn't perfect, or you throw a technique and it misses and it turns your body. And now you're presenting your back to your opponent and you've got to spin. We don't want to turn our back to our opponent on purpose. We never want to do that. But we do need to learn what to do if it happens. So the stepping drill is not the cross stance and turn. The stepping drill is this. Ready, position? Let's go super slow motion for everybody though. First, you step out right. See, he didn't just turn his foot. He's stepping. He's mobility. He's getting out of the way. But now he's going to cross over with his left as he starts stepping backwards towards kind of like a 45. And then he's going to rotate. And you want to rotate on the balls of your feet. You don't want to rotate on your heels. So you don't need to step with that instep out. Now, stepping across with the instep out is a good idea because that's a good way to put the ball of your foot down. And that's how that evolved in the first place. We didn't just turn our instep out because it looked cool. It evolved because if you put the ball of your foot down that way, you're in a good position balanced here, and you can spin and balanced here. But we're not stepping into the stance. We are moving. It's boom, boom, boom. Okay? Step, turn. And if you stay on the balls of your feet, keep your knees bent, you have really good balance when this happens. Okay? Not perfect balance, but here comes the big note. The big note is keep your feet moving. Doesn't sound like a big note, does it? Well, it's moving. Of course, you're going to keep your feet moving. Now, it means don't lock your feet on the ground. Don't plant and turn. Okay? Keep your feet moving. Step, step, and turn. Keep the balls of your feet moving. Keep the heels off the ground. Keep your feet moving. Show them side step, cross. Yeah, step out right, cross over left. Okay, 2. Now cross, step out left, cross over right. So the crossover is just that. He is not stepping along the yellow. He's stepping out on the yellow and then crossing over towards the green and spinning into a good in stance facing directly in. That's important to know because the big note up top I'm going to give you after we go through this is something called spotting. You've got to spot your target. And you've got to keep your eyes on your target as long as you can. And when you can't anymore, you got to whip around until you're back to your target. That's spotting, okay? You do it in dancing. You do it in fighting. You do it in anything where you need to keep your balance and you're going to spin. You got to look at what you're doing and keep your eye on it as long as you can and reacquire as fast as you can. That spotting is very important. Let's do it. Ready? So these first 4 steps are essentially the same but at an angle. So number 7, step out to the right, cross over with the left and turn. 2. Ready? Here we go. Step out with the left, cross over with the right, and turn. You should be in a nice in stance facing inward. 2. Now we're going to do the same thing, but instead of stepping out on the white tape or to the side, we're going to step backwards at a 45. Step back on the orange. Cross over with the foot. Turn. And a nice in stance will actually point you in a 45 back towards your center, which is where you want to be because you want to reorient on the person coming in at you. So if you're moving back there, you got to reorient to where the person's going to be. 2. And now back, cross over with it, and turn. Nice in stance facing at the 45 in. If you step out on a 45, the crossover should turn you back facing on a 45. Face back towards you're going. So that's 7 and 8, stepping drill. Okay, now 9 requires an extra turn and grab. And that's why we like to break it down and do it last. So let's all go over 7 and 8 again, and then we'll do 9. Everybody ready position, please, in the center side mouse. All right, we're going to do 7 and 8. Okay, so step out right, cross over left and turn. 2. Step out left, cross over right and turn. 2. Step back right, crossover left and turn. 2. And step back left, crossover right and turn. Now, instead of going back to the center, if you don't have a lot of room, just reset way back here and be ready to do number 9. Because 9 is the same thing plus an extra drag and turn. Okay? So let's break that down. What's the same thing? Step forward right, crossover left. But now instead of turning, just turn and stay facing backwards. If you turn, you'd be facing backwards. So we have to add a drag. As he turns, he's going to drag his right foot back forward again until he's facing forward. So there's an extra movement. So listen to how I say it. Go back. Listen to how I say this. Step forward right, cross over left, turn and drag the right foot forward. And if you can drag it forward all the way into an in stance, you've continued to move forward through the whole step. Common mistake, back up, Simons. Common mistake is this. Step forward right, step over left, turn, and then kind of drag that left foot around or just spin out or just kind of move around and step again with the left foot and just kind of move my feet because I get confused, okay? If you stop moving forward, you're doing it wrong. You will move forward at a 45-degree angle the whole time if you do it right. You will go right, left, right.
Notice how,
keep moving forward at a 45.
notice how it's spinning in the same direction the whole time. That's another
Right.
thing that gets people.
Right, they turn halfway and then turn around the other way. Step, turn, and they start to do that, and then they spin around that way, right, which makes it even worse. So if I'm stepping out to the right and I'm turning to the right, I'm going to continue to spin, which for me at this moment, because I'm mirror imaging you, this is actually a counterclockwise turn for me. Okay, it would be a clockwise turn for you on the right. Okay, but you continue to turn clockwise. Step out, turn clockwise, keep turning clockwise. Okay, for me it's counterclockwise because I'm doing mirror imaging. That's how I know I'm messing things up. All right, so that's the forward step. Let's do the forward step. Back up again, Simon, to show them how it's done. All right, everybody follow along. Try to do this. Listen. Learn by listening. Because you cannot keep your eyes on me the whole time or Simons because you got to turn your back to us. So listen, right? Step forward right, cross over left, turn and drag the right foot forward. If you get to the point where you're having trouble remembering your right and your left, welcome to my world. I struggle with that too. It's okay. All right, now do the other side. See here, we backed up. I'm going to teach you how to back up really well after this. Step forward left, everybody. Now cross over with your right foot. Turn and drag your left foot forward to the front. But now watch this. Watch what he does with his feet. 2, wide to regular, wide to regular. Okay? So even though you're in a deep in stance here, to go back, go even wider. Wide to regular, and you'll be back where you started. Okay? And that's a good way to reverse without looking backwards. Where am I going? Where am I going? You don't have to do that. You can just be here and you can just step back, wide to regular, and then you'll be back where you began. Okay, so that's 7, 8, and 9 of the stepping drill. And again, you're not stepping into a stance where you plant your feet, boom, and then turning. You got to stay live, okay? You got to stay live. This is the very first place where I teach students typically the concept of frozen moments in time and how they don't actually exist. The biggest weakness in most martial arts, self-defense, anything else you want to study, anything else you want to train, that is something that you can't necessarily train live because, well, I mean, what are you going to do? Give people a bunch of sharp knives and train live? That's not a smart idea if you feel like keeping your students around, alive. So there comes a time when you have to train, and a big mistake is when we start freezing. Now hold your arm out. Now let me show you what I'm going to do. And I do this and I do that. That's called a frozen moment in time. And in real life, there are no frozen moments. Okay? So in the stepping drill, we want to break that idea of step and turn, because you don't get to do that in real life. There's no frozen moments. You got to stay live. You got to step, turn. Okay? You got to keep moving. So stances, we freeze because we're showing off our balance. It's art. They're important, but if you train to freeze, you're going to freeze. If you freeze, someone who's been a sport training kickboxer or training in sport and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is going to eat your lunch. You can't freeze. Okay, you got to keep moving. So we got to start that from day one. We got to work on that. Okay, so stepping is where we begin with that. They start impressing upon you that you've got to keep moving. You can't just lock anything in. You don't do that. Okay, it's a bad idea in real life. Okay, let's move on. Next drill. Okay, next drill is a blocking drill. All right, now the blocking drill for 7, 8, and 9, you see where Simon taking a wide stance. Blocking drill is done by all students at this level, whether you're seated, whether you're mobility assisted, or whether you're freestanding. The blocking drill is one of those drills that everyone does, okay, and everyone learns from the beginning. Now, blocking and parrying are different things. Parrying is mobility-based movement, slipping, bobbing, weaving, okay, slipping, I already said slipping, parrying, okay, stuffing, that's all movement-based. Blocking, the reason we still teach blocking is because if you take blocking and use it for what it's really good at, which is aggressively attacking your attacker, it's a beautiful thing. Turns your defense into an offense. So all our blocking is striking hard. We're hitting hard when we block. We're smashing with our forearm bones. Okay, smashing. Okay, we're driving with the shoulder. We're not necessarily attacking the incoming weapon, though of course we are very often. We are also sometimes attacking the person. An overhead block isn't attacking somebody doing this, it's smashing into their face. It's a defensive movement designed to give you distance and time. Coming in here, boom, that's a block. Okay, so all right, so number 7, Saya Miles. What's block number 7? Oh, but I just said I gotta open on everything strong and attacking. What are you doing? I don't know, let's see. Oh, look at that. That doesn't look very strong. That doesn't look very blocky to me. What's going on here, right? What is he doing, standing on one foot? That's absurd. Didn't we just say there's no frozen moments? How can you get less frozen than standing on one foot like a bird, right? Geez, Saji, don't you know what you're teaching? Yeah, I kind of do. So if you're moving and blocking, you might have your arm out here. You might attack, right? And then your arm's out here. And somebody might go to grab it, okay? Or they might try to paw you down as they're going to step in and move your hand, grab your hand and kick your leg out, or going for a sweep, something very common in our traditional martial arts. It's very common in our traditional martial arts to take that block and hold on and do a sweep like that. Try to pull in and sweep and pull down, or pull in and sweep and pull down. So if we're trying to do these frozen moments in time, if I'm going to try to do that and I do grab his hand, look at that. That's why. That's what the crane does. So in the crane blocking drill, we're just doing this, right? Popping the hands in and bringing that foot up because we know the sweep's coming. It's literally the only reason you'd ever do this. Somebody's trying to sweep that leg and you're pulling it out. And when you pull, if you've ever done it with a live person, you don't get to stay here. When you pull, trying to come over top to break it doesn't work. But if you pull, it turns your body in here and you reorient yourself on the guy. So that's one of the reasons why we don't cross over and break down that grip like we do typically in our blocking. Okay? That's why this arm stays on the outside of the X when we go to our crane, pulling in. Because the strip's not going to work. So we're pulling in, reassessing, reorienting, and going after the guy again. Okay? Because we can always switch back up afterwards. So that's why. That's why I do all that, talk about the stuff, and then show you a block that basically breaks all those rules. All right, let's do it. Simons, show the crane block. Everybody get set. Do your open. And now crane block right. He stays low. He goes to a good crane. He pulls it in. Open. And then crane block left. Good. And open. Okay? So there's your crane block. Now, let's go to block number 8. What do we do? X, right over left. Okay, there you go. It's all right. We're mirroring it. Just everybody knows. Everybody knows. So he's got to go left over right. So right over left. Okay? The last 3 blocks in this drill deal with breaking grips or dealing with someone who's trying to trap and or grab you. Okay? While all blocks can deal with someone trying to trap and or grab you, these are specifically designed for that situation. Number 7, the crane is designed for the person who's grabbing you and stepping in for a traditional sweep that we do all the time in traditional bundle. Okay? So this one, this set, the windmill or the paddle wheel, is you're doing a block and you're pulling in and somebody grabs that hand And so they're just reaching out and they're trying to trap and they're trying to get in. And so people don't try to trap like this. I'm going to get you. That's not how they trap. Okay? That's not how they grapple. A grappler doesn't come and go, I'm going to try to grab you with one hand and see if it'll work. Right? They're going to come in and grab you. So you might have to break two of them. So break. And it teaches you the important thing in the paddle wheel isn't the double. Okay? That's not the important thing because you're not going to stand and fight like this. The important thing about it is it teaches you to drop your weight when you strike up and take that grabbed hand on the inside and strike upwards on the outside. Okay? That's the most important thing we're learning here, is this slight backwards barrel roll motion where this is inside and this is outside, and I drop my weight when I do it. Because dropping my weight helps this arm strike upward harder. And I'm attacking his arm. I'm not trying to make him let go. I'm punching his arm with my forearm. Okay? I'm hurting him. So when he grabs me, I'm not going to hurt his eyes. But when he grabs me, I don't want to do this. Because I'm in trouble here. Right? If he grabs me, I just want to do this. Okay? That's what I want to do. All right. And I attack with that edge. The forearm edge, not the top of my forearm, not the fat of my forearm, the edge of my forearm, okay? So that's number 8, okay? The paddle wheel or the windmill, okay? Number 8. Number 9 is even more in tight elbow movement based off of somebody who's gotten in there and is trapped in with you and is starting to grapple with you. You're in a grappling situation. Here's a way to keep people's hands breaking free of yourself, to keep yourself and give you openings for shots. The coolest thing about number 9 is inside of every scrape, there's a punch. Okay? There's a punch. Learn the scrape first. First, you cover with the right. That's a punch, intercepting a hand, right? Or punching somebody who's grabbing for you and knocking them away. Boom. Ow, right? Then you're going to scrape. Turn and scrape. See how much he has to turn to knock it away, and he's attacking in there. There's another attack in there we'll get to in a minute. And if somebody grabs you here, you go into your scrape, okay? And the overhead strikes up and the lower hand pulls down. And you notice when he pulls his hand down, it stays in the center line. It's right in here, okay? It comes in, and I like it at the sternum. Short punch, vertical fist at the sternum. Because from there, I'm going to punch. I'm going to scrape up and punch that thing in. Get away from me. Because that's, ow, I don't like that. Solar plexus, man. I don't think I want to get hit again. You know? Just wait just a second. I'm going to get macho in a minute. Right now, that hurt. You know, that sort of thing. Which is nice, because then I'm out the door. All right. Let's go through number 9, because that's the one that's hardest. Okay? Boy, these take a lot of time. Cover right. Slip left. Scrape down. There you go. Cover left. See the hand that went down? Goes into the cover. Slip right. Notice you can see through here. You want to be able to see through here. If you haven't turned it up to see through your arm, you didn't turn enough. Scrape. Okay? Cover, slip, scrape. Let's all do 7, 8, and 9 together blocking, because I don't think we're going to get past punching today. Let's all do it together. All right? Get there. Get to your X. 7. Open. Crane block right. Open. Smash those X's together. Crane block left. Boom. Pull them in. Open. X. Right over left. Remember that the upper hand goes in and the lower hand goes on the outside to knock off. And drop your weight. Ready? Paddle wheel. Good. And switch. Paddle wheel. Good. Now, I want to point something out after this. Cover right. Slip left. Scrape. Cover left. Slip right. Scrape. Good. 2. I want to point out in number 8, when he did his paddle wheel, you could hear pop, pop with his heels. That popping and locking of his heels. Pop, pop. If you're doing pop, pop, which is good, you're supposed to. Be very careful. You're not going pop, pop, lifting up, drop, and drop. If you watch him, he's going pop, pop. He's hitting the heels twice, but his head's going down the whole time. His head's going down, down. His head's not going down, up, down. Okay? He's not going down, up, down, right? Keeps going, down, down, okay? Pop, pop, head just keeps going down, boom, boom, okay? And that's what you need to do. You gotta make sure you're dropping down is that, not down and up and down, okay? Down, down, not down, up, down, right? Very important. So when you hear that pop, most people go pop, pop, and we don't want that. We want pop, pop, okay? Pop, pop, keeping the back straight, okay? You can pop and lock that, but you've got to keep dropping your weight. Okay, so we're not going to get much past punching. We've only got about 8, 9 minutes left, maybe 5. Let's go to punching 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, and 9 punches, okay? We are getting out of the realm of sport punching, okay? Got it, sir?
Yeah, that's a Blatchford has it too.
Yep. All right, so let me show you what we got here. Now, 9 needs a class all by itself. So we're not going to hit 9 too much tonight. In fact, we have a class all by itself for number 9 because the cobra punches are really extreme, very hard to do, very, not just hard to do. In order to actually do them safely for yourself, you have to do training that's old school. And as a result, they're not very practical because very few people can do the training required to do them right without lasting damage to your body. And 200 years ago, when you weren't going to live that long anyway, and that punch was the difference between living longer and dying right then and there, it was worth doing all that training with the sand and the mung beans and the stones and the pebbles and all that stuff until your elbows were bad and your knuckles were bad. It's not worth doing that anymore. So doing a good cobra punch is really hard to do because most people don't have it in them to train long enough and hard enough to do it right. But we always teach the cobra punch as punch number 9 because I like my students to know just how hard things can be in martial arts that you're expected to do right. A cobra punch is really hard, okay? And a beginner throwing a cobra punch is going to be like, what is, I need an ice cream, right? We're going to, but trust me. Let's go on to 7, Simons. What's punch number 7, Simons?
Okay, so punch number 7, this one is the rising strike. Now, the obvious usage for this one is strike to the groin, but it can also be used for any strike where you can get up, like down into the thigh,
right,
under the arm. That's a good one. Possibly if you manage to hit him here and get someone,
right.
Hit someone with honey bone.
The fist is a traditional Bando fist, which is the thumb up top. Now, you guys, those of you that have taken my class now and you've been studying, you know that in my punching, the mechanics of punching video, I tell you to wrap your finger underneath these 2 knuckles, the traditional punch of all martial arts everywhere. And the reason I tell you to do that is because of its ease and simplicity and safety. But the traditional punch of Bando is here. And I told you guys that too. And as I tell, you know, I actually have to change that video because I think I used the word wrong once. It isn't wrong, it's different. But the squeezing that thumb up offers you opportunities that this doesn't. And here's one of them, okay? With that thumb on the top of your fist, this rising groin strike is a knuckle strike, okay? If you're hitting soft tissue under the arm, if you get in there and somebody's arm and you block and the arm's there, you can throw that knuckle up there and hit. You can hit nerve clusters, you can hit arteries, just the muscle trauma alone of hitting a muscle. That hurts really bad with that tight knuckle there. And it's pretty safe. You can hit pretty hard with that with almost no training except learning how to squeeze your hand tight and get that knuckle there, okay? Which is a function of practice, not a function of conditioning, all right? You can practice this fist until it's efficient, right? To do the cobra, you've got to train. All right, show them number 7, the rising strike.
Bend those knees, cover, and drop from your chamber.
Look where it is, right beside his body, not out to the side. And he leans out of the way so the arm doesn't have to go around him. He leans so it can go straight up and down. Okay, and then left, okay? So that's it. It's rising right, rising left. Go immediately into number 8, Simons. Look at his arm. It's like he's listening to his watch. You guys know that back in the day, watches used to tick. Yeah, they would go tick, 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 right? They would. I swear to you. And not all of them had Apple Siri on or whatever. Okay, so he's listening to his watch. Okay?
Chamber,
Just lift it so the elbow comes up. It's a shoulder range of motion. Okay, it's shoulder range of motion, and he's about to do the hammer fist. And the hammer fist he's about to do is the downward hammer fist. Okay, which is a 45-degree angle down. Go for it. He chops down and it gets low, right? Because he's low. So it's driving in. It's a great shot onto the collarbone. Okay, and now the hammer fist is a gross motor strike. Gross motor strikes, the more gross motor you are, the stronger they tend to be, the more body weight they tend to be. And then you go, well, if they're all super strong and all this kind of, why didn't everybody just do them? Well, they're also quite easy to block, parry, and evade. So big, powerful strikes like this aren't necessarily, I'm not going to necessarily go, I'm going to hit you with this thing right here, right? But if I do this first, boom, and then this hand comes in, no, you got something going, okay? So a hammer fist, when I say, like I said, you hit the aim here when you're doing it is aim for the collarbone of your opponent, right? Right? Aim for the collarbone, but it can be anything. Put your hand out here, right? If I don't get the bar, punch right into that joint. If I hit here, just hit right there on the temple. Wherever it goes, I'll hit. Right? Take what's given. It's a big thing in our system. Take what's given. All right. So that's 7 and 8. Go through 7 and 8, everybody. Rising, rising, hammer, hammer.
Come on. Cover and chamber. Drop your right hand. Turn and lean. Rising right. Cover drop. Rising left.
Cover raise.
Hammer fist. Right. Raise. Downward hammer left.
Look at his shift and lean. He was right here. You see how much he turned and leaned when he did that hammer fist? Now cover raise again, please. Now you're going to do your cobra punch. And again, we're not going to focus on the cobra punch too much tonight. We're just going to go through it. Understand, though, what it is it's a loose hand. Listening to the watch. Come straight out. Squeeze tight at the moment of impact, but put the knuckle out. Middle knuckle for this punch, okay? Middle knuckle. Now, if you get really good at it, your knuckle will get supported by your thumb and 2 other knuckles, okay? Upside down. But if you start squeezing tight, you'll never be fast enough to make this work. This is a speed-based, accuracy-based punch. The target of this knuckle punch, it's not the face, it's not the eye, it's the inside of the eye, right there, the inside cap of the eye. It's matching this side. So for this hand, it's this eye. Out, loose, 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 squeeze tight, twist, relax, and come back. So at the moment of impact, you squeeze that knuckle tight, twist it, and then come back. So it turns into a penetrating, tearing motion that happens at the same time. Penetrate and tear, okay? Penetrate and tear, and come back. And now I was lucky enough to train with Grandmaster Ricky Suskin, who was a Cobra guy. He trained me for about a year, and it started to tear me up because my body wasn't cut out for it, and I had to stop. But I know this punch, and it is a humdinger. It's a great punch. But if you want to make it work, you've got to hit. We hit big bats of sand and twist, sand and twist, sand and twist. Mung beans, twisting and punching, twisting the beans, right? Twist and come back, twist and come back. And eventually that just tore me up and I had to stop. But when you start making this punch happen, you start hitting the little circle targets and you start popping things and tearing things. And the targets, the paper and the balloons and the ping pong balls. So cool. Okay? And it's very, 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 very efficient and effective if you can get to that. But it's not one you can just train until it's right. You've got to condition your body to do these punches. So we're not going to get too deep into it. There's a whole video about it. But let's go through 7, 8, and 9 sounds.
Go on.
Do the best you can with the Cobra. It's okay.
Cover and chamber.
Drop.
Drop. Rising right. Cover and drop. Rising left. Cover and raise. Hammer fist right. Cover and raise. Hammer fist left. Cover raise. Have your hand open and loose. Cobra right. Cobra left.
And it's all snap, hyperextension, twist it, and then come back and relax. Okay? It's all about exhaling, fast speed, good tight knuckle, twisting the knuckle at the right spot. It's a twisting, tearing, penetrating shot that's all speed-based. All right. Keep the arms up. Tishan, thank you guys so much for joining us. Within a month or so, we should be able to live stream. Everything will be much smoother on the circle group. Can't wait to see you all there. Val? Bye, guys.
Bye.